Okay, so today we're going to be going over DMA 40 sections 5 and 6. I don't think we're going to get to 7 today, but I'm just going to kind of run through 5 and 6. And a lot of 5 and 6 is just solving equations, trying to get x by itself. So here's an example. We're trying to get x by itself. So I have a little scenario or illustration that kind of helps students understand what it means to try to get x by itself. If it doesn't work for you, then you can kind of ignore it and you can go about your method of solving for x. But I found that it's a lot of helpful for some students when trying to understand how to get x by itself. And excuse my pen if it keeps messing up. Hopefully it won't do too much of that. All right, so here's the equation. And the main focus is our x that we're trying to get by itself, get x by itself. So I'm going to pretend this x is your house. So I want you to pretend that is your house. Now, I don't know if you have a brother or sister or niece, nephew, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case may be. Sometimes we all in life need to be by ourselves. I know with this whole quarantine thing, COVID-19, we're all in the house together, but sometimes we just need to just de-stress, get ourselves together. And if we notice in this problem here, we got a bunch of stuff going on. We got the 6, we got this 13, the equal sign. We need to get it by itself. So I'm going to build a fence. And I want to walk through this scenario for you. So say that we're having a party at our parents' house. Your parents went off for the weekend, left you to the house by itself. They told you no parties, no all that kind of stuff, but you decided to have a party over the weekend. So you brought some friends over. Here's the 6, here's the 13, everybody over here. This is you in your yard, in your house. And over here is going to be the street. And this here is going to be our fence or a gate. Usually when you have a house, you have your fence or gate around your house to separate the street from your yard. So you got the phone call back now saying your parents is on the way back. The trip got canceled. They're on their way back. Now you got all these people beside your house. You got some people in your yard. We got to get rid of all these people and put them outside in the street and close the gate before your parents get back because we don't want a whole bunch of arguing and stuff going on and you getting punished. So what we need to do is we have the 6 and the 13 that needs to go on the outside. So what you need to do, and always remember, move the farthest number or letter that's furthest away from the house first. If you look at the 6 and the 13, which one is actually going to be the furthest away? Well, that's going to be actually the 13. So we're going to move that over the fence into the street. So again, we're trying to get our house by itself. So we're going to do that by doing the opposite. So what is the opposite of plus? That's going to be a minus. And so we're doing on both sides. So what happens here? 13 minus 13, those just cancel out. So let's go there and put a little, erase this part. If I get my eraser to work. There we go. And over here, we're going to say 1 minus 13 is going to be negative 12. So we're going ahead and drop this because I haven't used this yet. And this gives us here. So this is going to be equation now. We have 6x equals to negative 12. So we ask ourselves, what is the 6 doing to our house? They're side by side. Side by side means multiplication. So again, you want to move the 6 over the fence into the street by doing the opposite. What is the opposite of multiplication? That's going to be division. So 6 and 6, they just cancel out. So what's left on inside but in our yard is just our house. And over here, negative 12 divided by 6 is going to be equal to negative 2. So negative 2 is going to be our final answer, and you always can check. Plug negative 2 back into the x. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12 plus 13 gives us this 1 on the outside. So here on this side in our yard, it's only our house. We got rid of all our friends and people over to the street. They're messing around the street. We don't care. When our parents get back, you can explain they was in the street before you even got there. So again, we're trying to get x by itself. There's my little house. So I asked myself the question, which one of these on this side of the fence is the furthest away from our house? We got somebody on the bottom. We got some people in the yard. 3 is the furthest away from the house. So we're going to start with that one first. So we do plus 3 because we're doing the opposite, plus 3. So these will cancel. We're going to drop this one down because we didn't do anything with it. And negative 7 plus 3, that's going to give us a negative 4. So now, because this 4 is being divided by, we're going to do the opposite to go ahead and remove it. So we're going to times this one by 4, times over here by 4. That way this one here cancels out with this one. So if these cancel, here's our x that's left on this side, and then negative 4 times a positive 4 is going to give us negative 16. So for here, we have one that's 7 over 10 that's right beside the house being multiplied. I know you see division, but this is considered to be a fraction being multiplied by the k. Minus 1/3 is equal to 1/4. So the first thing we're going to do is move this over to this side, opposite. And everybody should have a calculator so we don't have to worry about getting the denominators to be the same in order to add them together. So we just come over to our calculator, use parentheses if you need to, the ones that have older calculators. The ones that have newer calculators, you can just click on the fraction. And then just type in the 1/3. So if you have an older calculator, you need to put it in parentheses 83, a TI-83, and put it in 1/4 in parentheses. If you have the newer one, you can just type in the fraction as is. And then to change this decimal into a fraction, because you want to stay with fractions, you hit math, and then fraction, which is number 1, so you can just hit enter 2 times. And we get 7 over 12. So this is going to be 7 over 12. All this goes away. So we drop down what we haven't used yet. So here, side by side, I'm going to do the opposite, which is division. So I'm going to divide it by 7 over 10 and divide this by 7 over 10. And we get 5 over 6. So K is equal to 5 over 6. These cancel, and then this result here is going to give us the 5 over 6. With this equation, we're actually solving for y now. It doesn't matter what variable we're solving for, whatever the Mathflash Plus tell you to solve for. However, now we have variables or a house on this side, and we have it on this side. So what we need to do first is kind of get our house in order, put everything together, all our y's together, and then on one side of the equal sign, and then put the numbers on the opposite side of the equal sign. That's the first thing we want to do first. So what we want to do is collect like terms first. Since both of these have on y's, we can go ahead and put these two together and make it 4y. This has a y and this has a y, so I want to bring this whole part over to this side. So this is a positive 3y, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is a minus 3y. Again, these cancel, leaving you with just y on this side. This understood 1 in front is equal to, and what's left over is just 5 here. So we really don't need this 1. We know it's understood to be there. So the answer for this one is just going to be y equals 5. So looking at this example, this one looks kind of weird because we have one fraction on this side and we have just a regular equation on this side. So again, I know fractions kind of give everybody the thumbs down because we don't really like fractions. So it's best that we always try to get rid of the fractions first. If this is being divided by 6, remember if you want to get rid of it, we can do the opposite, which is multiply both sides by 6. So if I multiply this side over here by 6, this 6 and this 6 cancels out, leaving with just 3x plus 2 in parentheses. Over here, if I multiply this, I have to remember to distribute. So over here, it's going to leave us with 12x minus 12. And then I can also distribute here on this side. And that gives us 3x plus 6 is equal to 12x minus 12. So let's put up the wall or the fence and start moving x's to one side and just numbers to this side. It does not matter. I know I've been moving everything to the left, but just to kind of show you it really doesn't matter. I'm going to move this one over here, minus 3x to this side over this side. This cancels out, leaving me with just 6 is equal to 9x minus 12. And now I'm going to, since I brought this 3x over to the right side, I need to bring something from the left side over to, from the right side over to the left side. So I'm going to bring this 12 over here because they're both numbers. Again, I did the opposite. So this gives us 18 is equal to 9x. The 9x are being multiplied together. So again, we're going to do the opposite, which is division. That cancels out, leaving you with just as x is equal to 2. So I'm going to take this 6 here to get rid of it, multiply by 6. So I'm going to multiply it over here to this 6 over this side. And this 5 over here is being divided. So to get rid of it here, I'll need to multiply it on this side. That way that goes away and then this goes away. So over here I have 36x minus 11 is equal to 25x plus 11. So basically the idea is just multiply to this 6 in front and to this 5 in front to get rid of the fractions below. So now we're going to distribute. So this gives us 36x minus 396. And then this 25 times the x gives us 25x times 11 here gives us 275. Now let's get our x's together and our numbers together. I'm going to take this one here, minus 25x. This side here goes away. And over here it's going to leave us with 11x minus 396 is equal to 275. So I brought the 25 this side, and I'm going to take this guy and bring it over here, doing the opposite again. So this goes away now. If I add those two together, I'm going to get 671. The 11x is being multiplied together, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is division. X is by itself is equal to 61. Once again, for this, and especially in DMA 40, you always want to check your work when before submitting on your quiz and or your test. Just take that 61, plug it into this x and this x. So 61 minus 11 times 6 divided by 5 should be exactly the same thing as far as the answer on this side by doing 61 plus 11 times 5 divided by 6. They should both equal to each other. That's why you always know you have the answer correct by plugging it back into the equation for every x that you solve for. I have two more examples. These last two examples is a couple of rules that you need to be aware of. So we're going to solve just like normal. It's always best before we start moving something over the wall on both sides here, just to combine like terms and condense and simplify both sides before we start moving things over. So here I can notice I can distribute this 4 inside. Can't do anything to the left side yet, as of yet. I notice I have a 4x here and a 3x here that can combine to give me 7x. And notice here, I didn't change the sign. If you stay on this one side of the wall, I call it, you don't do the opposite. Only when you bring it over to this side is when you do the opposite. So that gives us 7x. And then 1 minus the 6 gives us minus 5. So now I'm ready to get the x's by itself. So minus 7 here, minus 7x here. Notice this problem here. 7x minus 7x, they cancel, and 7x minus that, they cancel. So we have both sides that actually cancel each other out. Oops. Actually, I think I made a mistake. Let me go back. This one right here should have been a 4, because 4 times x gives us 4x, and then 4 times this 4 gives us a 4 here. So let me make that quick correction. So this gives us 7x again. So I'm doing this one and this one together. And then 4 minus 6 gives us minus 2. Now I can do my minus 7x on this side, minus 7x on this side. They still cancel. Then I have negative 2 is equal to negative 2. So if you ever get an answer where the x's or whatever variable you're solving for goes away and the numbers match up, it can be 0 equals 0 or 10 equals 10. If they match up, the answer is going to be all real solutions. So when the x's and everything goes away and they actually equal each other on both sides, it should be a button on my MathFast Plus to say all real numbers, or I mean all real solutions. There's another button on my MathFast Plus, and this is in units in section 6, that's going to have a no solution answer. So how do we know if it's going to be a no solution answer? So we distribute this time. This time I'm going to remember to distribute both of them. 20. So I'm going to do the opposite. That way this cancels with this side and this cancels with this side. So this time I'm left with -9 is equal to positive 20. If you see an answer where the numbers don't match, then this is where it's going to be no solution as far as going to be our answer.